In 2013, a DCC adventure came out called The Revelation of Mulmo. It was written by Daniel Bishop, and is one I missed, unfortunately. So it's been re-released now in a Tentacled Edition, and it's by, again, of course, Daniel Bishop and David Fisher, and it kind of keys in with this book here, Angels, Demons, and Beings Between, Otherworldly Edition, as Mulmo was featured in that book of patrons. So this is obviously going to be for judges mainly. I'm not going to have as many spoilers as before, but I just want to kind of tell you what you're going to be getting into. This new edition does have new art, new maps, and a whole new layout. I've not seen the original, so it was all kind of new to me. It's about 48 pages, the adventure is, but the whole book is about 76, because the back is going to have, you write up on Mulmo, there's another patron as well, the spells, everything that goes along with it, as well as kind of the big bad guy that's in the adventure as well. So what does this adventure, what is the theme of this adventure? This theme is going to be what I would call kind of Wicked Elf Hill is what it is. Errol Howe is the name of this elf hill, and is where your adventure is going to take place. Now, it has an interesting beginning in which the patron Mulmo is going to speak to one of your player characters, and this is going to give the kind of the hook for the adventures. And obviously, if a patron is talking to an elf or any of the, it's going to obviously tend more towards elves. If it's talking to one of the players, then obviously it's going to be a pretty good hook to see what maybe the payoff would be for helping Mulmo. And what Mulmo wants is to he wants to bring back a servant of his, and that's kind of the whole story, is that he's going to bring back to life a servant. He's going to give the players a good kind of choice towards the end about what they want to do for themselves, or do they help Mulmo out. So that's kind of the whole gist of it. But wrapped up in that is this strange elf hill of Errol Howe. And it has a very unique design to it. It's very difficult to get into. It almost kind of reminds me of Tomb of Horrors, where it's a little obscured entrance to it. But it has a lot of strange elf-type things going for it. Now, the elves in this adventure are, they've got a slight wickedness to them. They're not the kind of the pure good elves that we've seen in some other stuff. And there's kind of a creepy kind of maliciousness about them. There is a new monster that's in it called of course it's plenty of monsters. This is a new humanoid called a Trow, which is kind of like a troll-human hybrid, and they play a part in it. But it's a very large adventure. It's very much larger than, it's not super big, but it's very much larger in the scope of what DCC adventures usually typically are. So you're getting a lot of meat in this adventure. You get a lot of new creatures. And you get a lot of just versatility with what it has. You could take out some of the rooms that it has, take out some of the items and artifacts that are in there, and obviously the monsters. So right there, you're getting plenty of new original stuff in it. But on top of that, you're getting a story of this strange hill. It's got a strange kind of layer dynamic where you've got multiple layers inside the hill, and you've got different rooms on those different layers. But in the middle, almost kind of like kind of just jutting up tower that's in the middle of this hill. And obviously you're going to have, rooms and exploration to do inside the middle of the tower, which is going to be kind of a focal point for, obviously, the story. So it's got one thing I'd say is that there's not very many mundane rooms. Almost every single room in this adventure tends to have something kind of strange, something kind of going on for it. Since it is higher level, this is 3 to 8 characters, which is kind of funny, 4 to 6. So you're already kind of getting up there in the DCC level bracket there, so you know you're going to fight tough creatures, you get probably a lot of good loot, and you're going to find a lot of deadly encounters in it. But a lot of these encounters still have that, even though it's from 2013, I feel like this adventure definitely encompasses the DCC feel. The creatures are not just very mundane, they kind of do stuff that's different, they have different attacks, and even the magical items are very unique. There's 2 in particular that are really spotlighted with art for them and a full layout, right up for what they do. Giving them a real personality, and nothing in this is very cookie cutter. It's all kind of very unique in its placement and its design. So that I've got to applaud it for that. But various rooms are going to have strange magical contraptions, strange items that are in there. I think the players will be doing a lot of exploration and being very cautious because of the strange environment that they're in, and the environment also has some time and temporal space type strangeness to it, in which time in the hill could be an hour. 1 minute could be like an hour, or it could be like a year. So very kind of strange like that. Obviously, you're in a bizarre environment. It has one thing that's really kind of interesting about it is that it has some strong type of NPCs that are in it, as well as some neat lists. It's got some kind of rolled up randomness. There's a room in particular, and you could use this for other adventures or just kind of swipe it out of there. It's got a list of scrolls, different type of scrolls, so that you could roll up, different type of skulls, and kind of the history behind that skull, and maybe it can speak or something, or has some sort of personality that you could use. Different stones, vials of liquid. That right there is a section that's very useful, rolling up randomly, that you could swipe out of this adventure. It's got full-page pieces for a couple of pieces of art. The maps are not extremely detailed, but they're very useful. You need to definitely look at the maps, maybe print them out, or just really focus on how the maps are. There's a side cutout of the hill, as well as an isometric map for the tower, which I found to be very good. Really like that map a lot. And here and there's some spot pieces of art, that you'll find throughout it. There's with the way I told you about the elves, there's some, kind of some disgusting type of art that's in this place. It's depicted a lot of wickedness that these elves might be a part of, or they were a part of. And so it's got kind of like a creep factor when it comes to that. Again, it's got pretty much your outside, the inside. Well, it's kind of strange, but it's the inside of the hill. It's got many rooms, 2 layers of them, and then this tunnel. And then the tunnel's going to have multiple rooms in it. And then underneath all that, it's going to have a pure dungeon. It's going to have underneath it all, it's going to have kind of dungeon kind of rooms that you're going to be kind of used to. But there's too much almost for me to go into without this being an extremely boring video. It's got Mulmo talking to your PCs at certain various points of the adventure, which that's going to not only help you maybe role play that as be able to play a speaking patron to your players, but also going to kind of drive the narrative for the adventure, kind of push them along, or give them choices and stuff like that. So it's still a connection to what the main theme of the story is, which you could then use to put them back on track, give them help if they're having a tough time, figuring stuff out maybe. So I really enjoyed that a lot, having that type of connection to the patron of Mulmo. There's some strange creatures that go beyond just normal kind of fantasy elements. They have to do with the moon and creatures that live on the moon. So you're having otherworldly type of enemies that you're going to be facing. So that's going to be exciting, hopefully, for some of the players, should they delve into this hill and tackle what Mulmo wants them to do. And then at the end, they are going to have to make a choice. I don't really want to spoil it for you. Or if you're a player and you're happy to be eavesdropping on this. But again, the Mulmo, He Who Whispers Forgotten Secrets, is a full write-up there. And then you have another one, which is Gloriana, the fairy godmother. So it has a lot of fae and fairy type influences into it, but with that wicked kind of twist to it to make it not so squeaky clean, fairy tale type stuff. So she's completely written up at the back of it as well. And then her spells and what she can provide for players there, and then of course a write-up on the person that Mulmo wants to bring back to life. So like I said, I'd love to be able to go into more of it, but it would be a very long video because there's a lot of content here. Almost no mundane rooms whatsoever. Each room has some sort of something for the players to interact with, figure out, loot. I found a lot of good loot that seems to be in this adventure, and a lot of death was going to be dealt out more likely in this adventure as well. I didn't see anything that was too punishing for the characters, for the players, and I think that it's going to be an adventure that it would take many sessions to accomplish, to beat it. I should say finish it, I guess. She may not complete it, and your character could come out of this completely changed. And there's some encounters in this where the choices they make, if they make that choice and follow through with it, their character's done. You've made a poor choice, and you shouldn't have done that. So hopefully some alarm bells will go off in people's heads and stop those things from happening. But lots of magical rooms, a lot of strange rooms with artifacts and stuff in it, and a good bit of exploration, and obviously dungeon splunking is going to go on with it, as well as strange monsters. So if anything, it's got a great story, great narrative going on with it, strange environment, and I think that anybody that wants to run a bit of a longer adventure for DCC is still going to get that feel, still going to get those strange creatures, as well as some unique magical items and weapons as well. So, and of course, tying into this book, so you're going to have that kind of connection within those patrons if you're using those. So one that you could kind of fluff up more with these patrons. So there it is, Revelation of Mulmo, Tentacled Edition. It should be out already, or it should be out soon. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I haven't done a DCC adventure in a while, but David Fisher does some great stuff, and I like his art a lot, as well as Daniel Bishop's done tons of DCC adventures. So if you want one that maybe you missed in the past, 2013 now, that was a while ago for DCC. You may have missed it. It's going to be back. Check it out. Thanks for watching.